And here he is, the general manager of the Sacramento Kings, Scott Perry. Scott, we trust all is well, and thanks very much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. How's everybody doing this afternoon?
We're doing fine, but as you can imagine, like Kings fans, we do have some questions. So we welcome the opportunity to talk to you about a few things here. And Scott, if we could, let's start with the reports that came out yesterday. The podcast, that's FanDuel podcast. There was a report that you have been trying to get ownership on board with a rebuild that may take 3 to 5 years. That essentially is what Sam Amick said. Was that accurate?
Totally not accurate, false, whatever other strong words you want to put to that. That is not the case at all. First of all, I would never put a timeline on this process, and I'm not going to either this afternoon. And I've said many times before, when I first got this job, my mandate when I got hired here was to build a platform for a long-term sustainable success. And ownership in the front office, we are 100% aligned in that vision and in that goal. And so anything that suggests anything different is just false. So, and I've always had the complete and necessary autonomy to make the decisions necessary to achieve this goal. So that's where we're at right now. So hopefully that clears things up for everyone in Kings Nation as to where we sit today.
If I may, Scott, just to follow up, just to clarify, is what's most bothersome to you about that report just the notion that you have been trying to convince ownership of where you should go? Is that the issue that sticks with you guys the most?
That's very problematic for sure, because there's never any convincing that's going on with that. So, no, to be very clear about that, like I said, we're 100% aligned on where what we need to do. I said also when I came in this year, I'm going to evaluate everything too, and we're going to be prudent and patient. You've heard me use those adjectives as well. That in doing that, to build a long-term sustainable winner, that's what I know. It takes some time when you're coming in and you're trying to build a culture, establish a culture. You've got to, I've used the analogy all the time, it's like building a home. If you're going to build a long-standing home, you got to dig 15, 20 feet beneath the surface and pour the concrete. You're not just going to pour the foundation on top of the land. You got to dig deep. That's going to take longer. But when you do that kind of thing, you give yourself a chance at becoming a sustainable winner ultimately. So again, that's the philosophy, that's the vision, and that is the daily work that we hold here.
Scott Perry joining us this afternoon on Sactown Sports, the Drive Guys. Scott, when it comes to patience, and I heard you use that word, the fans here have had so much patience with the organization. Right now, in kind of a difficult start to this season, what is your message to the fans to keep them engaged in the process?
No, I would just say to them, look, we want to create an identity this year. Have we fully done that to this point? The answer to that is no. I'm a straight shooter, and I'll tell you that. We've been very uneven in trying to do that. But we will get there. Make no bones about it. We're all equally committed to that. As I've said, there's the 100% alignment between front office and ownership. There's also that same alignment between myself and the coaching staff. Same thing. And so I get it. I understand the frustrations of Kings fandom, fan nation here. It's been a long time since they won and had a sustainable winner. And so I know this early on is not what they wanted. But if you look at the number of the top teams in the league today, they all went through some very tough stretches and tough years to be able to lay the kind of foundation necessary to create the type of environment that ultimately leads to sustainable winning.
Scott.
And so all I've ever asked from the beginning is just that, to be patient for that ride, because we definitely have a plan in place, and we plan on doing this thing together. I think fans and people will be pleased with that once we get to that point.
Thank you, Scott, and pardon me. A lot of people are unclear on something, when it comes to Keon Ellis, because we know the team has talked about a commitment to defense. People know that Keon Ellis is a good defender, but his minutes have been limited. And Keith Smith, and I think this was on our station earlier this week, and we were talking yesterday about how this didn't seem right. Keith Smith said there's a difference of opinion on Keon between the coach and the front office. Can you clarify that for our fans?
Yes, I can clarify that the same way I clarified the initial question. There is no difference in opinion on Keon Ellis. We both like him. Mm-hmm. I mean, Doug has a great deal of respect for him. Actually, Doug knows Keon better than I do. Mm-hmm. He's coached him here the last couple of years. I'm getting to know and learn Keon with each practice, each game that moves forward. He is a professional. He exemplifies the 6 pillars that you guys have heard me talk about when I talk about being competitive, tough, team-oriented, accountable, professional, and disciplined. It's no secret that we're a smaller basketball team, but we have a number of guards right now. And so there are only so many minutes to go around. But I think as the season moves on, you continue to see Doug push a number of different buttons, and I'm sure that Keon will be the recipient of some more minutes based on whether it be opponents or his play, or just, again, trying to find the right combinations to play. So there's no we like Keon Ellis here. Mm-hmm.
Scott, when it comes to head coach Doug Christie and looking 20-something games into the season, how do you feel like the job that he has done, considering some of the circumstances, like you just mentioned, with the roster?
Yeah. First of all, you're talking to a former coach here, so I have total respect for that position. The coaching job is hard, especially in this league, because you're playing against talented teams pretty much every night. But Doug has most impressed me. Doug is extremely passionate and intense, as most all of the people know here in Sacramento. Those were qualities that made him the great player that he was in Sacramento. And he also has some very good natural leadership abilities. This is his first full season as a head coach, as a full-time head coach. So there's a learning curve for him, too, that he talks a lot about openly with you guys, and he is a real student of the game. So nobody works any harder at his craft. So Doug lives and dies with every possession, every win and loss, but he's always trying to figure out how to get better. So that's what I really have been watching and analyzing with him, and he's kept his demeanor, which I think is very important when you're going through tough times in this league. And I've been part of organizations that have gone all the way to the top and won the championship, and I've been with teams in this situation, and even worse, to be honest with you, in terms of beginning a building process. And one important thing that you need from leadership, and that's for myself, from Doug, is consistency of approach, consistency of attitude. Never get too high, never get too low. And I think Doug is really doing a solid job in that area. And I'm really excited about continuing to work with him and grow as a coach in this league.
Scott, I wanted to ask about this, with Monday being the unofficial start of the trade season. Scott Perry, nice enough to join us. There have been multiple reports that the Kings are looking to be active, and you're open to just about anything. I know you don't want to get into specifics, and that's not appropriate, but reports are you're open just about anything if the right deal comes along. Would you say that those reports are accurate?
Well, I would say this, and I've said this. There's 30 teams in this league, and there are 30 people that hold my position. I'm one of those 30. And even before, quote-unquote, December 15th, what everybody is the big date where more guys who signed over the summer, quote-unquote, are eligible to be traded, you're constantly on the phones, listening, trying to figure out how and ways to improve your team, just like the other 29 general managers are doing. I think what I would caution the fans of and say to the fans that just because certain dates are on the calendar doesn't mean that there's a subsequent trade coming. Trades are very difficult in professional sports and in particular in the NBA because you may have a goal in mind, what you want to get accomplished. Now you have to go out and find a partner who also has a similar goal in mind in terms of they like what maybe you're open to sending out, and you have to like what they're open to sending back. Then there's a financial component to every trade. There's so many variables that go into making a trade ultimately come to fruition. So very difficult, but I think the one thing that Kings fans can rest assured of is that we'll be working the phones. We have our eyes and ears to the ground. We're going to be opportunistic and prudent where we need to be. And if there's something that makes sense for us that aligns with our vision and goals, then and works for the other team or teams involved in the deal, then we'll be able to make that deal at that time.
Scott, one of the things I love to live by, as the great poet Sugar Free said, you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And I believe that's what you're saying to the King's Kingdom. With that being said, before the season conducted, it felt like you made some great moves with going to get Nick Clifford and, of course, Max in the second round. Up to this point, December 10th, what is your on-take and what is your in-look as far as like Max starting the last couple of games, Nick jumping up and down the G League? What are your perception of those rookies right now?
Very encouraged by both young guys and their where they're at right now is young players in the league. First and foremost, they both have very high basketball IQs. Secondly, they have tremendous work ethic. And so as a young player, you come in this league, if you're willing to work and you have an idea about how to play this game, you're going to give yourself every opportunity to grow and get better. I think we're seeing Max Raynaud grow in front of our eyes. It's been very fortunate too for him, unfortunate for the Kings, with Domas being out, but it pushed Max into service maybe earlier in this season than what otherwise may have been if Domas still playing. He sees that opportunity, and that's what you want to see from a young player. Like I said, he's getting better every game. He's starting to rebound the basketball a little more outside of his area, which I think is a very important thing for him. And the better he gets at that, the better player he's going to become. Because coming in the door, we look at some offensive skill. I think he's shown Kings fans the ability to use both his left and right hand around the basket to finish. He runs extremely hard, and he's probably our most vocal defender. As a backline player, when you can have your center that is verbally communicating screens and actions that are happening in front of him for his fellow teammates, that is a huge thing and a huge asset to have. So been very pleased with him. And Nick is really coming on right now, too. Again, very versatile player. He was having early on, because we were a smaller team, he was playing some power forward, which is not who he's going to be with us long term. But so he's had a real baptism by fire as well, too. But competitive, can defend multiple positions. I just think the more he plays and the more he settles in, the more confident he gets, the more consistent you'll see him play. But over this past week, I think he's had some really good games. Probably had his best game as a pro in Miami. Follow that up with a real solid outing in Indiana. And then, we had already had him planned to play with the G League team last night just to get him more minutes. I think that's the great thing about the G League and the close proximity of Stockton to us is that when we've got a couple of days there for our young guys like that, he got an opportunity to go down and play a lot of minutes, and hopefully that'll be helpful to him when we get ready to play Denver on Thursday.
One more for you, Scott, in terms of the young players on this team. Devin Carter reported down to the G League. I'm just curious of maybe the plans for him and what benefits him down there right now.
I think obviously he hasn't played a lot this season. He's not cracked the rotation yet. So anytime a player, even though he works extremely hard after practice, after games, when he's not getting the same opportunities, that's not the same as playing 5-on-5. So again, to utilize that asset of the Stockton Kings for him to go down there and actually play 5-on-5 basketball, get a feel, see the ball go through the basket, defend some people, I think that's very important. And I think if you just really look around the league, a lot of teams utilize the G League in this manner, and that's what we're doing for Devin. We want to keep him sharp because, again, he's one injury away from not playing to maybe coming in the rotation here with the Kings, and you want him ready. You want him in the right kind of condition, and hopefully he's got enough rhythm and timing under his belt that he can come and take advantage of that opportunity when it does come.
Scott Perry, we appreciate your time very, very much. Thanks for your clarification on things. We know you're extremely busy. Just so you know, you got Jay and Kayla and I. You ever need any, to bounce some ideas off of people, we're here for you.
You got all right. But you guys let me know. You have those for me. Right. You have those great ideas. I'm always open to listen.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you, Scott. We do appreciate it. Take care.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah. General Manager of the Kings, Scott Perry.